When I got to LA, it was all just gang graffiti, and that's it. Nobody was writing. There was no crews. It wasn't no. What I consider writing is anybody can get a can of spray paint and write their name. I'm talking about you get a specific name, you go rack some paint, and that's your mission is to get up. Then you have the writing mentality. You know what I'm saying? You're not just you getting a can from your grandfather's garage. Don't make you no writer. You know what I'm saying? If you drawing in your coloring book, you're not no writer. If you drawing in black books, you still ain't no writer. You know, writers get paint, get on the wall, and go out and take risks and get up. Yeah. And that's a writer. You could do graffiti, but you ain't no writer.
It's been many, many, many moons since we was running these streets of Los Angeles.
Okay.
I literally ain't seen you probably since the 80s, right?
Basically.
So where have you been all this time, man?
I went back to New York in '88, and then in 2007 I moved to Georgia.
Take me back to the Bronx, man. What was that like as a kid?
It was good. I lived in a nice part of the Bronx. I lived in the Valley. It's like the Baychester Avenue. You get off Baychester on the number 5 train, northeast Bronx. It was nice. It's homes, family homes, you know.
So when you moved to Co-op City, what were your first inspirations in hip hop?
Well, in the Valley, my inspiration for hip hop was because they used to throw the jams in the park, the Valley Park, Hafen Park. They used to be throwing jams. And when I was a little kid, I'd be, me and my little crew, we used to ride around with our bikes and stuff all through the park and while they played the music, you know? And then that's what I knew about hip hop, you know what I'm saying? But when I learned about graffiti is when I moved to Co-op City because they had the tall buildings and they was writing on the walls over there. Where I lived at, they wasn't writing on the walls. So I started writing in Co-op City and first dude to turn me on to it was a dude named Short Shot. His name was Stanley Garland. His name Short Shot graffiti name. He was a good dude. He taught me how to tag, and then I started tagging up. And then I got into a couple of crews in Co-op. I got into ART, All Around Taggers. That was a crew with the leader was Cancer Kid, and the vice president was Hip. And that's when I got into graffiti.
Well, what was your first name back then?
I had several of them, man. I changed it every week. Bass, AM 129, Raid, a lot of names. I couldn't keep a name for long.
So then, after Co-op City, you came to LA?
LA, yeah.
Okay, and what was the reason, who was you living with at the time in the Bronx? And
my mother and father. And my mother had separated from my father and took us to California. That's the reason for me going to California.
And how did you feel about making this huge transition?
You know, I got into art and design, you know, but I was going to Walton High School, and I got into art and design. I took the test, I got in, and then sure as I don't know, you know, my mom's come up with, go to school, get your transcripts, we out of here.
And you probably didn't want to make that move initially, huh?
Not initially, no. But I didn't want to stay with Pops either.
What was going on with Pops?
Today's word is abusive.
Where do you land at when you first get to Los Angeles?
On Longwood, in the mid-city, on Longwood Street, Avenue.
So when you got to LA, there wasn't a major hip-hop influence. Maybe it was a little bit, but not that big at the time when you got here.
Oh, no, it wasn't. They wasn't playing no hip-hop on the radio. It was no hip-hop really on the radio. 1580K, they started doing their little thing later on, but not when I first got in. It was barely playing in New York hip-hop on the radio.
The first writing you were doing, you were actually going to John Burroughs at the time
John
here
Burroughs,
in LA.
Junior high school, yeah.
Yeah, you was, I think, in the 9th grade?
9th grade, yeah.
And what were some of your early memories of writing when you was at John Burroughs?
At John Burroughs, I did a Cheech Wizard character by the PE area, by the basketball courts. And I went with my cousin one night, right? And I had a bunch of paint, but he took the paint and destroyed all the lockers. Everybody's locker, he was writing teachers' names, bad words. And then when I came up to the school the next day, before I seen my piece, I seen what he did. Because I didn't see what he did the night before, because I was busy doing, he supposed to be watching my back, but he was doing what he was doing. And then, you know, it looked crazy when we got there.
So after that piece you did at John Burroughs, when did you really take it to the next level?
When I started going out with Trini Wingate, we was like bombing the neighborhood, and then we found Pan Pacific, me and Trini, and I went up there. I did a burner, a nice burner up there, and there was no graffiti up there at all. It was like gang graffiti up there, but not like no art graffiti, no New York style at all. So they could say what they want to say about whatever they want to say, but it was none.
Do you remember what year that would have been?
83.
83. Before it became a legal wall, right?
Oh, yeah. They didn't even build the gate to block people out yet. You know what I'm saying? It was just a raggedy gate right there. Wasn't even no security guard there. The security guards came after all the damage was done to prevent the graffiti from doing that. But then they turned around. They liked my graffiti so much, they decided to make it like a place for all the writers to come and do their graffiti.
Were there any New York style graffiti writers that you were aware of at that time in '83?
No, I didn't see none. I would have seen it, man. I didn't see any, man. I started seeing them more like 80 maybe late 83. Maybe late, 'cause I started seeing Minor. I started seeing Rival. But they was just doing tags. They had the uni-wide game. They was doing uni tags. I mean, you know, if you're a writer, you see somebody with a uni, you be like, you know, checking them out. You know what I mean? There was a guy named Zeus that was tagging. You know, there was Mr. 151. You know. Then as I went down towards that, what's it called? The Radiotron. I seen Crime. He was down there. Shandu. You know, they was doing their little thing, you know, and Geo, he was doing a lot of tagging, but it wasn't getting out there like it's supposed to, you know what I'm saying? But they started to, they started to. It started gaining traction, put it that way.
Thanks for watching StreetTV.net. If you're not subscribed, please hit that button below and click the bell to receive alerts and notifications. Feel free to comment below so you can give us your feedback, and be sure to watch the 2 related episodes to the right. If you want to support this platform or follow us on social media, visit the links in the description, and thanks for watching StreetTV.net.